Nisboere word met trots geborg deur Laveld Agrochem en JAC Motors.
We bought Uitspan farm 16 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been quite a journey, and we've learned a heck of a lot, and we've been relatively humbled along the way.
Yeah, agree. Jumped into it where angels fear to tread. The farm, there were a few olive trees which really appealed to Neil, and the old dilapidated houses really appealed to me, so that set us off. The couple that we bought from, they were really subsistence farming. They planted the olive trees, and they had in our little barn venue, they had milking cows and some sheep. When Neil saw the olive trees, he immediately planted more olives, and later on came up with the idea of trying farming with artichokes.
So currently, well, over the years, we've planted up in stages, and we're at about 3,000 trees at the moment. It takes 5 kilograms of olives to make a liter of oil. But if you add value to the olive, the first way you can do it is producing table olives. That is labor intensive, it's a lot of work, you've got to package it, bottle it, but it is higher value, possibly more difficult to sell. Next in line, I got a bright idea from visiting Greece and seeing amongst the olives artichoke plants. So I got quite excited about that, and much to Lisa's horror, there's now a few thousand artichoke plants. And again, it's quite a lot of work to process, package, and most importantly, actually convince someone to buy the product. And of course, by that stage, I've done my job, so it now becomes Lisa's job to sell the stuff. And she always reminds me, I've never sold a jar of olives, and she has to do all the hard yards. So originally I bought heritage seed from, I think it was Living Seed. And from there we've never bought any more seed because the plants generate a lot of seed. So we start with seed. Oh, here's a seed. It's come out. So
they're like little
wind-borne.
parachutes, yeah.
Yeah, so if that landed on the ground, there was a good chance of an artichoke plant
There they
growing.
are, you can see.
At the end of the season, the complete plant dries out and you cut it off at ground level. And next season, in autumn, these little plants generate themselves, and pre-midwinter, they're virtually full size again, and then spring they start flowering, and there the buds start coming.
Fruiting, yeah.
And that fruiting period typically lasts maximum 2 months, about 6 weeks to 2 months. And in those 6 weeks to 2 months, there's a lot of work processing them and getting them ready for sale. And we've discovered that there's high protein content that makes it a great fodder. Then you start getting into the medicinal side of the artichoke plant with probiotics and prebiotics, the stuff I don't understand, and antioxidant properties
and liver function.
Liver tonic. So it's a great plant with many, many, many uses.
From crop production, as Neil mentioned, we're farming olives, and so we produce our own brand of olive oil, as well as table olives and various other spin-offs from the table olives like tapenade and salt-dried olives. And then Neil, of course, then added the artichokes, which is a great product, but it's artichokes bottled in extra virgin olive oil, which makes it a sort of a niche product. Alongside that, the crops, we have the accommodation. We have 3 separate venues. We have our manor house, our barn, and our koppie cottage. And those bring in a more passive income in terms of the self-catering accommodation that we offer. One of the leftover buildings that we inherited was an old pigsty, which I decided would make an incredible space as an art studio. Hopefully down the line, maybe we have a vision of artists' residence and artists holding workshops here perhaps, in our beautiful light that we have, that actually brought us to the Klein Karoo, that beautiful light that we experience here that lifts your soul.
Nisboere word met trots geborg deur Laveld Agrochem en JAC Motors.